China's #3 leader Zhao Luji, along with a delegation, visited Prime Minister at Parliament House, and that was after an official dinner last night. Now, granted, the government's keen to keep up diplomatic relations with China, but this trip has sparked security warnings from a number of experts as staffers in Parliament House were told to turn off their phones and internet-connected devices during the time that this man was inside the building. In a memo to parliamentary employees, the Department of Parliamentary Services, their security division, well, it said, quote, where devices must be used, goodness me, in Parliament House, you're always on a device, please ensure phones and iPads, they said, are updated with the latest software version and placed in lockdown mode, and laptops should have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth switched off. Joining me now to discuss this, Shadow Minister for Cybersecurity, Claire Chandler. Claire, welcome. We'll talk more broadly about the relationship, but I tell you what, every single time I used to go to China when I worked for the Prime Minister, you know, you take a burner phone, you don't take any devices, you clean everything that you take in or you throw it away. That's when you go to them. I've never heard of a circumstance where a Chinese delegation comes to Australia and in our most secure environment of Parliament House, all of you and all the staff are told to shut down, turn off. We can't trust them if that's the case.
Well, I think there are some serious questions that need to be answered here, Peter, and partly those will be questions for the Department of Parliamentary Services, and partly, I suspect, they will be questions for other government agencies like the Department of Foreign Affairs, like ASIO. We were given this advice from the Department of Parliamentary Services at about 8:30 on Monday morning, when everyone had shown up to Parliament House in Canberra ready for the last sitting week of the year. And apart from being told the specifics that you've just outlined of turning phones off if you're in certain areas of the building or putting them down into lockdown mode, there was no further detail around exactly what the security risks might have been, why this decision had been made, and indeed why the department had waited until seemingly the last minute to communicate to staff more broadly and parliamentarians as well about what was required of them. So it has been quite a puzzling couple of days, and again, I think there are some questions that will need to be pursued before we can fully get to the bottom of exactly why we had to go to these extreme lengths here in the Parliament this week.
Yeah, as I said, you know, I've never heard of this occurring. So what has changed? What are the deficiencies, Claire, with the Australian Parliament House's network now? Clearly it's a vulnerable network if they've had to do this. And, you know, in my time, President Xi himself came into the chamber, into the House of Representatives and spoke to the Parliament, and none of this was required then. So what is different? And I bet you the reason why they didn't give you much notice is they didn't want to be, discussing it like we are now on air. Have you sought a briefing? Have they given you a briefing?
Look, I haven't been offered any briefing yet at this point. I won't speak on behalf of other colleagues that whose responsibilities might touch on these areas. But yeah, I think that's a very valid point, and that there are questions that need to be answered. And it should be, explained to all occupants of this building and parliamentarians why this sort of advice has come about. I mean, like you say, previously there have been delegations by China to the federal parliament, and these sorts of rules haven't been put in place. Indeed, we would get a parliamentary delegation from another nation, I don't know, probably every sitting week, if not every second sitting week. In my 6 years in the parliament, I've never once been told that you have to switch your phone off, or that the Wi-Fi might have moments of being a little bit patchy throughout the building for the duration of a parliamentary delegation visit. It's just quite befuddling, to be honest.
It's not workable. It's not workable. I'm also surprised, if you listen to the Prime Minister, they're supposed to be our great friends again. This is not how great friends treat each other if we're so vulnerable that you basically are turning off your phones and back to carrier pigeons on a busy sitting day.
Well, that's exactly right. But we have to remember that the Chinese Communist Party has taken a very aggressive approach towards our democracy previously when one of its state aligned cyber hacking groups attempted to hack parliamentarians, including myself, back in 2021 purely because we were members of the Interparliamentary Alliance on China, and seemingly the CCP wanted to send us a message or find out more about our views on the Chinese Communist Party. So this is a pattern of behaviour, and all Australians need to be very clear-eyed about the cybersecurity threats from foreign actors, including China, and particularly all parliamentarians need to be aware of those risks as well.
Let's go to some comments made by the Greens leader, Larissa Waters. She is now demanding that Linda Reynolds and her former Chief of Staff, Fiona Brown, she's demanding they donate any compensation they may receive from their court battles with the Commonwealth over the Brittany Higgins matter. Now, I don't remember the Greens saying that Brittany Higgins needs to donate her $2.4 million payment. Why should Senator Reynolds? She's won fair and square in court. She's unlikely to seek anything from Higgins. She is said to be about to declare bankruptcy. Her husband has declared bankruptcy. So why can't she keep any money she gets?
It's once again rank hypocrisy on behalf of the Greens party, Credlin, Peta rather, and sadly we've become used to it. I mean, they claim to be the party that defends women, but it's only a certain kind of woman that they want to defend. And I think this, more broadly just shows how much disregard this political movement has for our legal system. I mean, when damages are awarded in a court of law, they are awarded for a very good reason, to restore some sort of loss, which may be the case in these two examples we're talking about here. So the Greens are saying, oh, well, that loss is less important, ergo you should have to donate the proceeds to a sort of charity. I just think it's a bit baffling.
We'll leave it there. Thank you, Senator Chandler.